Within the array report, you can also view the IV curve information. So first we need to select a level that we want to see the information. We can look at the inverter, the combiner box, the string, or even at the module level if you're doing module level IV curve tracing. Click IV curve information. You can see the desired IV curves on the right-hand side. As you check those different curves, they'll overlay on the graph. The STC curve is the measured data corrected to standard test conditions of 1,000 watts per meter square, 25 degrees C cell temperature. As you're taking measurements in the field, those measurements are not going to be at standard test conditions in almost every case. So the SMFT 1000 and TruTest will correct that to standard test conditions so you can compare different IV curves. At the bottom, you have the table. If you click the little caret on the right-hand side, it will expand that data. You can see the STC data, which is the measured data corrected to standard test conditions. You can see the actual measured data as it was collected. And the nominal data is the data from the module manufacturer. This is what the manufacturer tested when they were testing in the factory at standard test conditions. And that's how the modules are rated. We can also add the measured IV curve on there. And if we click the STC button again, it will remove the STC curve. So you'll see just the measured curve. We can see the power curve that adds the power to the y-axis on the right-hand side. We can see the measured power curve as well. And again, if you click the power curve at STC button, it will remove that curve from the chart. Adding nominal will add this green area we see on the graph. This is the manufacturer's nominal data, the curve from the manufacturer, plus or minus whatever the pass criteria you have set in TruTest. Now, I have it set at plus minus 5%. You can see that in the bottom on the table there. So that's what we see on this green curve area. That's the manufacturer's data plus or minus 5%. We can do the same thing for the power curve as well. Again, gives us the power curve plus or minus 5%. We can also see the maximum power point of the curve that we have selected. That's the knee of the curve. If you went from that point to the left and that point down, that area under the box is the maximum amount that it could be at any point on that curve. If you click the pointer button there, you can get data at any point in the curve. So at this point in the curve, I'm at 54.7 volts, 5.46 amps, and 298.662 watts. And we can do that for any point on the curve. The magnifier allows us to select an area of the curve so we can zoom in and look at it in more detail. If we have zoomed in, zoomed out, or use that magnifier, we can use this reset button to go back to the default view. And then we've got zoom in and zoom out as well. If we click the information button on any of these pieces of information, it will open up more details about that test that was conducted. We can click the pencil button there and we can edit that data as well. We can export the IV curve into a report. Here we see the IV curve that we've selected. The table below, and it's cut off here so we don't see the whole thing, is a measurement of every data point the SMFT 1000 collected. So that could be up to 128 different data points. We can export this report in a bunch of different file formats. We've got Excel, Word, PDF, PowerPoints, CSV files, really any type that you could want to export. Now, when you select different test measurements, it will overlay them on the graph. This is a really great way to identify any outliers, especially if you're doing it for the STC graph. If you use the measured data and do this, they'll be all over the place because they're not at the same irradiance and temperature level. So we need to use the STC curves in order to be able to do this accurately. We can also compare the data in the table below. You can use the caret at the top right to expand all of the data if you want to do that. We can see this data at different levels as well. We've been looking at the inverter level. If you had a large inverter with multiple combiner boxes, you would be able to see all the IV curve data from all the strings from all the combiner boxes in one shot. You could also go down to the combiner box level where you can view the individual strings from that combiner box, and then you can go down to the string level and even the module level as well. All the options at any level of this tree are exactly the same. So they'll be the same as what we just reviewed. So this is a great way to look at your IV curve data, compare it, find outliers, identify issues that may need to be investigated further.